I've mentioned before my wife, Kelly, my wife's grandmother, we call her Oma, and she was 102 and passed away right before COVID all took place. And in passing away in February, we were unable to have the funeral because of COVID. And just recently, there was a memorial service in her honor to be able to kind of pay the last respects in that. So we had been talking about her when she would die, when she would pass away. She was 102. So for a lot of years, we've been saying, well, this might be Oma's last Christmas. And she outsmarted us all because we've been saying that a long time. She said, She kept on pressing. She would have turned 103 last weekend, last Sunday on Father's Day. She would have turned 103 years old. She died right before that in February. And at the memorial service, her daughter made a list of all the things she had gone through in her life. If you will, it's her verse 1 through verse 20 of Lamentations chapter 3. It's her 20 verses to be able to go through all the things she went through in her life. I want to list out these. It's probably about 25. I want to give you, if you will, even a history lesson as you'll hear all of this history. She was born June 21st, 1917. Now listen to all that took place she experienced in her life. October was the revolution in Russia in 1917. Then World War I. Then Tsar Nicholas and his family were assassinated in 1918. The Spanish flu pandemic, the Mexican Revolution, 1927, the first talkie movie came out. Charles Lindbergh's flight to Paris, the discovery of penicillin in 1928, the invention of bubble gum when she was an 11-year-old. I'm sure that was a great thing. The creation of Mickey Mouse, the Great Depression of 1929, the first Academy Awards. The Star-Spangled Banner was adopted in 1931. The Lindbergh baby was kidnapped in 1932. Bonnie and Clyde were shot, and John Dillinger was gunned down by the FBI in 1934. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs were released. The Hindenburg crashed in New Jersey. Time magazine in 1938 declares Hitler to be the man of the year. The Nazis invade Poland and World War II begins. Pearl Harbor is attacked in 1941. Then she and her husband lived in Germany after World War II. He was a part of the occupation troops. We actually had, she has a medal of his of the occupation troops in Germany. Now here's something interesting, talking about time change or all that's happened. They were able to make one phone call home in 2 years. And her daughter on a vacation called her from a cell phone on a mountaintop in Hawaii, calling back to Texas. And she said, I can't believe this is happening. It's gone that far. The Korean War in 1950 to 1953, Queen Elizabeth is crowned monarch in 1952. Vietnam War, Alaska and Hawaii become states in 59. The Beatles, the Cold War, Martin Luther King Jr. has a dream in 62. JFK is assassinated. Civil rights are put forth and approved. Her son Wynn dies in a car accident in 1965. Her son dies. The lunar landing in Woodstock takes place. A war in Afghanistan begins. Mount St. Helens erupts, and her husband in 1981 dies of cancer. Challenger disaster and Halley's Comet in 86. 87, a second son, Harry, dies in a car accident. Now she's lost 2 children and her husband. The Gulf War begins in 1990. 9/11, 2001, war in Afghanistan, 2001, war in Iraq, and then her daughter, my wife's mother, my mother-in-law, dies of cancer in 2007. So now she's lost 2 sons and a daughter and a husband and been through all of the wars since World War I. And they just stopped telling the history in 2007. And then she dies February 29th, 2020. At 102 years old. And this is what she said over and over the night before she died and within hours of her death. Here's what she said. Let go and let God. She just kept saying it over and over. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. I want you to say that with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let go and let God. One more time. Let go and let God. And she passed away and stepped into heaven to see her Savior, Jesus Christ, face to face. You and I will go through verses 1 through 20, but will we get to 21 and say, yet I turn to Christ. I turn to the hope of His love, the hope of His faithfulness, the hope of His provision, the hope that He's shaping me, and the hope that as I go through this list of things that I just read to you of her life, that this list of things will be something that will shape me so that I could say before, during, and after, let go and let God. She was an amazing woman, went through amazing things, had a lot of loss in her life and a lot of joy. And you and I will as well. And let's let go and let God and surrender to Him. Hey, thanks for watching. To find out more about Houston's First, you can subscribe to our channel or you can go to houstonsfirst.org.